To the Tamil devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari yamunatiravanachari tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Kalachandji, Radha Kalachandji, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. We'll be continuing reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 5, Text 1. Just chapter 1. Yes, it's Lord Rishabhdev's teachings to his sons. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We can recite this together. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswati vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavate sevaya bhagavati uttam shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtaki Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so we have to cover only text 1 today. It's a beautiful verse. Please recite it after me. Rishabhuvacha Nayam deho deha bhajam niloke Kashtan kaman arhate vidbhujamaye Tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam Shudhyed yasmat brahma sakhyam tvanantam Nayam deho deha bhajam niloke Kastan kaman arhate vidbhujamaye Tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam Shudhyed yasmat brahma sakhyam te anantam. Would anybody like to recite? Nayam deho deha bhajam niloke Tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam Shudhyed yasmat brahma sakhyam te anantam. Nayam deho deha bhajam niloke Ashtamakama bhujame Tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam Shudhyed yasmat brahma sakhyam tvanantam Nayam deho deha bhajam niloke Hastam kamana devita bhujamaye Tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam Shudhyed yasmat brahma sakhyam tvanantam. Thank you very much. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Lord Rishabh Dev told his sons, "My dear boys, of all the living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hogs that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified, and when one attains this position, he attains eternal blissful life, which is transcendental to material happiness and which continues forever." Would anybody like to read the purport?
In this verse, Lord Rishabhadev tells his sons about the importance of human life. The word dehabhak refers to anyone who accepts a material body, but the living entity who is awarded the human form must act differently from animals. Animals like dogs and hogs enjoy sense gratification by eating stool. After undergoing severe hardships, all day human beings are trying to enjoy themselves at night by eating, drinking, having sex, and sleeping. At the same time, they have to properly defend themselves. However, this is not human civilization. Human life means voluntarily practicing suffering for the advancement of spiritual life. There is, of course, suffering in the lives of animals and plants, which are suffering due to their past misdeeds. However, human beings should voluntarily accept suffering in the form of austerities and penances in order to attain the divine life. After attaining the divine life, one can enjoy happiness eternally. After all, every living entity is trying to enjoy happiness, but as long as one is encaged in the material body, he has to suffer different kinds of misery. A higher sense is present in the human form. We should act according to superior advice in order to attain eternal happiness and go back to Godhead. It is significant in this verse that the government and the natural guardian, the father, should educate subordinates and raise them to Krishna consciousness. Devoid of Krishna consciousness, every living being suffers in this cycle of birth and death perpetually. To relieve them from this bondage and enable them to become blissful and happy, Bhakti Yoga should be taught. A foolish civilization neglects to teach people how to rise to the platform of Bhakti Yoga. Without Krishna consciousness, a person is no better than a hog or dog. The instructions of Rishabhadev are very essential at the present moment. People are being educated and trained to work very hard for sense gratification, and there is no sublime aim in life. A man travels to earn his livelihood, leaving home early in the morning, catching a local train and being packed in a compartment. He has to stand for an hour or two in order to reach his place of business. Then again he takes a bus to get to the office. At the office he works hard from 9 to 5. Then he takes 2 or 3 hours to return home. After eating he has sex and goes to sleep. For all this hardship, his only happiness is a little sex. Yan maitunadi gihamedi sukam hi tucham. Rishabhadev clearly states that human life is not meant for this kind of existence, which is enjoyed even by dogs and hogs. Indeed, dogs and hogs do not have to work so hard for sex. A human being should try to live in a different way and should not try to imitate dogs and hogs. The alternative is mentioned. Human life is meant for tapasya, austerity and penance. By tapasya, one can get out of the material clutches. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, devotional service, his happiness is guaranteed eternally. By taking the Bhakti Yoga, devotional service, one's existence is purified. The living entity is seeking happiness life after life, but he can make a solution to all his problems simply by practicing Bhakti Yoga. Then he immediately becomes eligible to return home back to Godhead. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvataha tyaktva deham puna janma neti mamiti sojana. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. O Arjuna.
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pisthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namare. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shannavadi Paschata Deshadarane. Om Vishnu. Hare Krishna. So, we all know who is Lord Rishabhadev over here. Rishabhadev is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he's a Shaktavesh avatar. A Shaktavesh avatar is an incarnation of Krishna, who is basically is a jiva who is empowered by the Lord, just like Srila Prabhupada, who was empowered by Krishna himself. So he's a Shaktavesh avatar. So here, Lord Rishabhadev is giving instructions. These are his teachings to his sons. One of his sons is Bharat. So we can see easily from the translation and the purport, what is the purpose of this text? To remind us of our purpose in life, the purpose of our existence, the purpose of human life. So we all know that human form of life is very, very rare. It's extremely rare. To get this body in itself is extremely rare. Among the whole cycle of species of 8.4 million, imagine there's a time where you go through the entire cycle and then you get this golden opportunity to get a human form of life. And why is this a golden opportunity? Why is this so valuable and special? Why is human form of life extremely special? Yes. Yeah, sarcastically. But why is it so special? Even Lord Brahma says in Srimad Bhagavatam, and I would like to quote a verse. I will read the translation, just a second. Basically, here Lord Brahma says that even demigods are waiting to take birth um, here because they want the body, this human form of life, where they can perform austerity to get devotional service. Imagine even demigods are wanting to get this human form of life. Why? If we ever wonder about it, because um, if we go lower, in the lower planets, there's a lot of misery that we cannot even get reminded of the Lord. Imagine there is so much misery, so much torture that you cannot think of the Lord. And in the higher planets, there is so much enjoyment, sense enjoyment, that we hardly want to think of the Lord. So this human form of life is said to be the perfect atmosphere where there is misery as well as hope. In the sense, there are sometimes extremely bad situations which also bring us to, kalachanji. And there are extremely happy moments that we also want to, be reminded, okay, life is not that bad. And, we have that kind of willingness and consciousness and desire to approach the higher truth. So there's a balance here. Of course, it's also a part on us, how we want to use this human form of life. And that is where Rishabdev is instructing not just his sons, like we all are over here, his sons, sons and daughters, that he's teaching all of us that don't waste this life just for sense gratification. But we often misinterpret this. Do our scriptures try to tell us that don't be happy, don't enjoy? Are they saying that do not seek happiness? That's not what our scriptures are saying. In fact, they are saying we want you to get eternal happiness. We want you to get to a stage of bliss where the happiness is long lasting. It's not shanbhar, like it's not just for a moment. It's not momentarily, it is something that you would want to be in an eternal state of mind, and that is called bliss. But as soon as we associate happiness with physical and mental, it becomes simply short-term pleasure and enjoyment when it comes to the body, and when it comes to the mind, it just becomes an escape that we are seeking, right? What is exactly, when we are wanting to, when we say, our corporates use this word, and students, and we all face that we burn out, right? We often feel burnout in our day-to-day lives. So how do we mentally overcome that? We try to escape. We try to go for a holiday, we try to indulge in junk food, or we try to go watch a movie or some web series, or we try to sleep. A lot of people escape by sleeping. Okay, let me just solve our problems by just going to sleep. But how much can you sleep? How much can you eat? How many pizzas can you devour until you start feeling extremely like aversive towards eating the idea of having pizza? How many slices of pizza? How many pizzas can you have? How many trips can you go until you have that desire, oh, I really want to go back home now. I'm tired. I want to go back home. I don't want to travel. I don't want to keep doing this. I just want to go back home. So even mental and physical level, how much can you enjoy? Krishna says, even if any physical activity you take that is right now giving you pleasure, can you come to a state where you can do it 24/7? Can you still think that the enjoyment will keep increasing? No, we don't even have the capacity to enjoy that much. So it's frustrating after a point. But it's only spiritual happiness. Do you think the more and more you get deeper in spiritual wisdom and insights, and you're deeper in your sadhana, the more you get deeper in your devotional service, do you get burnt out? Do you feel ecstasy? What do you feel? We feel a little happy because maybe we are still trying to, get that taste. But getting deeper in your spiritual practice makes you happier, makes you feel more blissful. And that is where, our scriptures try to remind us that spirituality, please associate your bliss with your spirit. Because the more and more we engage in material activities, we think we are getting happy, but we are not. We're getting more and more dissatisfied. can we say the most beautiful person in the world, in the society, according to the norms of the society, physical beauty, or the person who is most wealthiest, or the person who is most strongest, are they internally satisfied? Can we guarantee that? If we go and ask them, they would say, no, I still have, I'm still looking for that higher truth. The thing is, everybody's looking for spirituality, but they don't know it. But they're trying to look through alcohol, through drugs, through daily activities. Why? Because spirituality means you're trying to seek, trying to connect with yourself, with your spirit, to connect with the higher self and feel happy. That is our natural position. So everybody's trying to attain that with their own understanding, with their share of understanding, but they're not getting to that level. I'll try to tell you something very interesting. I hope I'm able to explain that to you. We all know of this, right? There's an element in our brain, there's a chemical that releases that's called dopamine. When is that released? It's a happy hormone, like in a normal, layman language, and it gives us instant happiness. It is released to make us, we feel that happiness in that moment. Now, when is that dopamine released in the mind? When we do something which we desired, and that desire is getting fulfilled. Now, let's say I see a slice of pizza, and because I love pizza, I look at it and suddenly I have dopamine released just before even having that pizza, because I know once I have this slice of pizza, it's going to make me happy. That is the function. But why is it that we find it? I'm talking in a very day-to-day activities right now. We'll come to this later. But let's say, why, if we compare having a slice of pizza, or let's say scrolling on social media, we can do that for 3-4 hours non-stop. But if we have to work on the laptop for some official work, or let's say some application we have to send, why is that boring? The same thing, you have to scroll, you have to do your research, but on your phone, you can do it for hours. Why is that interesting, and why is the writing an email boring? Of course, it's boring, like, yeah, come on, what are you asking, right? On social media, why? Because it's giving you instant release of dopamine. It's a supply of non-stop dopamine, because you watch YouTube shorts, you watch Instagram reels, you watch Facebook videos, and it's just giving you that instant gratification of, some trending music, some activities you see. Because see, the attention span is so short. Earlier there used to be long videos. Now people don't have that much patience. Now we have reels of 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. And sometimes, even if it's a 1-minute video, we watch on the speed of 2x. Like, who has the time to watch the full thing on slow, right? We just quickly want to reach to okay, what are you trying to say? I want the result right now. So because sense gratification is so much done by the modern world, like with all of us now, is because it gives us instant gratification. And this is not the worst part. The worst part, I'm going to tell you, is that our body gets to a stage of homeostasis, that we get used to getting this dopamine so much that we want to keep increasing it. Imagine like an alcoholic. Somebody who is new to alcohol, who will start drinking, will instantly get drunk because his body is sensitive to it. But imagine somebody who's been drinking for, like, who's like an alcoholic, who's been drinking for years. Do you think he will get drunk in just initial drinks? No. He has to get that higher and higher and like more drunk to get that dopamine released. That's what happens even with drug addicts. That's how we become addicted. Because we're trying to reach to that level of something that gives us a kick. Something that we know will give me happiness, pleasure, right? And we go to a stage of addiction because we're trying to increase as much as we can, suck the happiness out of it. But we need to understand that we're being foolish, because this is not going to last forever, and it's damaging me. More than anything, this is unhealthy and it is damaging me. And I'm reaching to a state where I don't even know what happiness means. I'm not able to question these amazing questions and answers we get in our scriptures, the purpose of life, because I am just stuck in this sense gratification, which Rishabdev is telling us is like living an animalistic life, just like dogs and hogs. So we're always living with the desire of giving us happiness. This will give me happiness. Let me do this. This will give me pleasure. That is the worry, and that is the futuristic idea, and the fear of losing it now. What is FOMO? Fear of missing out. We miss out something that we've not been part of. And you see, our body, this material body, is full of fear, agitation, and instant, sensual pleasure that we're trying to get, and it will never be satisfied. There won't come a stage that you will feel, oh, I am so happy, I have gratified all my senses. No, because it keeps increasing. The demand keeps increasing. So we have to just switch from seeking pleasure through body and mind to seeking happiness through our soul. Because soul actually feels blissful. Does anybody have a question or a comment till here? Any doubt on what we've discussed? Otherwise, we'll move forward. Okay, both of you.
Krishna, I just had a question. I don't know if you've read the little book, Spiritual Yoga. It's one of the books that we distribute. But it's this section of the Bhagavatam in a little book format. And it's supposed to be one of our main little books that you give to a new person. So I'm just wondering what your opinion is on somebody who's never read anything about this from Prabhupada, and that's the first verse that they read. Because to me, I don't know, it might be a little bit heavy to life is meant for suffering and austerities and penances. I'm just wondering what you think.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think if we try to, some words, we have to make them in their words so that they can understand. And when you try to give them an example that even they are working very, very hard, right? How Prabhupada explains the whole routine of a common man is that everybody is working hard, but nobody is getting anywhere. I mean, that's too much of a sentence for me to say getting anywhere, but actually, anybody who's going to work, anybody who is earning, is working so hard, and they have to keep repeating it. Imagine they have to keep repeating the whole cycle of getting to work, working, and what happens at workplace? They want to not get criticized all the time. They want to get appreciated. They want to get acknowledged, and it sucks the energy out of them. So you maybe can talk to them that, okay, how is your lifestyle? Engaging in a conversation with somebody who's extremely new and trying to understand what their life looks like, and then maybe picking out a point which one of this might be relevant to them, that how we all of us are struggling. But you know how there's one shloka that says, Shram eva hi kevalam, that we are endeavoring and doing penances for nothing. It's like a donkey who's trying to chase. Imagine there's a carrot that is tied to in front of the donkey, and as the donkey keeps walking forward, the carrot also keeps moving. But the donkey thinks, as I keep moving forward, I will be able to taste that carrot. But he's never going to reach to that point, because as he's moving forward, the carrot is also moving forward. And that is our stage, that we're chasing so much enjoyment and happiness that we think we'll get that, what we are seeking out of it, but we're not getting there. But even if we reach to a point, this example comes where I might be wrong, I don't know, Prabhuji, if you would remember, like a camel is trying to chew to something, sucking thorns, and he thinks it'll give him pleasure, but after a point he starts bleeding. So what is happening is that what I think I'm going to seek pleasure from is actually damaging me. And I'm tasting my own blood. The camel is tasting his own blood and thinking, oh, that's the taste I wanted. That's what I wanted. So maybe we've got to mellow it down and understand from a new person's perspective that, okay, maybe they're not able to understand this thing right now, but giving them a message and analogy, they probably be able to connect in any realm of their life that they're struggling with. Let's say a relationship, doesn't have to be work. They say my work is really good, it's healthy, but maybe it's a relationship. That they're working really hard and they're not getting bliss out of it. Right? Maybe something like that. Yeah. Yes, Roji.
Speaking about the rarely achieved human form, I just remembered in one of the Bhagavatam classes, I don't have the notes now, but this speaker, he mentioned one of the Puranas where there is detailed description given about how rarely this human form of life is. So he said, as we know, right, there are 8.4 million species, and 8 million species are basically bhoga yoni, for enjoying, your own karma. There are various desires. It's a facility given for the living entity to fulfill their desire for sense gratification. But he mentioned one wonderful point that is explained in that Purana, that when, let's say, somebody is going through that procedure and he is in a dog's species. So he said, it's not that you just take one body of a dog and then you are elevated to the next. You have to become every breed of that dog. Okay, so like that, in every species, every variety of that, breed of that species you have to go through. And finally, when it comes to the human form, which is 400,000 types, by the way, he said, all the demigods also, they are included in this 400,000. It's not just we. So Gandharvas, Kinnaras, Asuras, all these people, spread in the entire universe, they are included. They said when it comes down to 400,000, just one. Wow. It's not that you get to go through every single, demigod body, this birth. So it's like the snake ladder game. You go there, and then there's a huge python ready to devour.
Wow. See, thank you for sharing, bro. It's so rare. It's so rare, and this human form of life is extremely valuable that everybody is waiting to get this golden opportunity.
Just have a question on what Gokulananda Prabhu said. So is it that we had to be demigods and then you take human birth, or is it after human birth you become demigod? Like, how does it work? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's like the concept of karma, like the concept of getting human form of life. It's so detailed, and it's like you can scrutinize as much as you can. And the essence out of it is that we're so fortunate to get this body, and we just have to use it in the right direction. There's once one conversation happens between Srila Prabhupada and devotee asks. This conversation that happens in Melbourne. May 22nd, 1975. And the question a devotee asked Prabhupada is, Prabhupada, we've been here for so many lifetimes performing so many sinful activities. So is it possible to counteract all the sinful activities in one lifetime or in many lifetimes? And Srila Prabhupada says, 1 minute. That's Krishna consciousness. And he says, are you not reading Bhagavad Gita? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, he quotes the shloka, Sarva dharmam parityajya, mamekam sharanam vaja, aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashami mashacha. Krishna says that you surrender unto me, give up all your business, give up everything, and I will relieve you from your sinful reactions immediately. That's what Prabhupada says, that Krishna means it immediately. But you need to have that one moment of extreme surrender. Krishna, I have been wrong. I have been doing so many, sinful activities. But I now understand, and I now surrender unto you. That just 1 minute, and Krishna, being so bhaktavatsal, he's so compassionate towards his devotee, and he's like, okay, forgiven. I will take away all your sinful reactions, all the reactions you were going to get. Imagine a normal relationship where you've been extremely forgetful of a person who is being showering their love upon you, and you've been doing all sort of activities, and suddenly you go to them and say, hey, I'm sorry. please forgive me. I have been so rude to you. I have been ignoring you. And that person will forgive you, but that person might think, right, okay, this person has a tendency to do this. I don't know if I should forgive him. Like, I should be really careful. But Krishna doesn't think like that. Krishna says that even that one moment of surrender that you have, Krishna just forgives you and accepts you. That is the level of love that Krishna has for each and every one, all of his souls, all the souls. So one more thing that I was thinking, why is it that we are, people in general in today's world are not reminding themselves of the purpose of life? Where we have so many books, not just scripture books, we have a lot of, awareness books. But why is it that people do not we are not inclined towards understanding the purpose of life? And even when we see people come to temple, people around us, why are we not able to elevate ourselves? Because people don't just want a book Bhagavat. They want to see a person Bhagavat. They want to see somebody who is living this philosophy. Like we say every morning, right? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So it's not just the book Bhagavat that we have to serve by reading it, it's also a person Bhagavat that we have to serve and we have to come in association with. Who is a person Bhagavat? Who is reading this, understanding this and practicing this. When people start seeing people who are practicing Krishna consciousness, not just preaching, like we have a lot of preachers, and sometimes we preach and we're not following it ourselves. So people might get just inspired, but that may not last. When people come in association with person Bhagavat who's practicing it, they feel more motivated to do it. That's how even I came into Krishna consciousness, and I'm sure you can see hear a lot of interesting pastimes. How people came into Krishna consciousness is because they met loving devotees. They saw how devotees were so loving, so accepting, where it's hard to find in a world where, it's you scratch my back, I scratch your back. I'm not saying there are not good people out there. Of course, there are wonderful people, but when we come in association of devotees, we call that real compassion, because they are trying to give you the knowledge to elevate your consciousness to attain real happiness. Right? So most people come in spirituality when they see this love transcending through you, emanating through you. So we've got to be like those devotees who, we don't want to copy it, we don't want to imitate somebody, but we want to actually sincerely, as much as we can understand, take shelter of Bhagavatam, take shelter of Krishna and our Guru and devotees, so that, we can start understanding this in the real self. What is the difference between information and knowledge? Information is, when we are right now, we're getting all this information. But knowledge, it becomes knowledge when we practice that information. When we start practicing it, when we start questioning, when we practice, it's not that it's going to be very smooth. There are going to be moments where you'll feel challenges, and then are going to be moments where you feel that you are succeeding at it. And both those moments are important for you to reflect on your spiritual practice. And if you see that, growth is not like linear. It is not like, okay, you start practicing Krishna consciousness. We've been devotees for 4 years, 10 years, 1 year, 2 years, 20 years. Ever ask a devotee, they'll never be satisfied with their spiritual, they'll not be like satisfied, okay, I am happy where I am. No, because this gratification of wanting to go up and up, in the sense deeper in your sadhana, is an amazing step, or let's say amazing growth that we can gift ourselves, because that brings us closer to Krishna. So the more deeper and deeper we are going to go in our knowledge and sadhana, it is going to give us realizations that is going to help us grow. And the moment we think, okay, I am now a good devotee, I think I've learned enough, I have had my share of growth, that's where it all goes away. Because As devotees, we are always learning. We are always put in situations where we can learn more, we can practice all these teachings that we hear every day, and we can come to a point that we can extremely surrender, like absolutely surrender to their lordships. So yes, as I was talking about, there's one more point I wanted to mention. I was talking about instant gratification and why the concept of living like hogs and dogs comes, because we are seeking instant gratification. But we need to understand this one shift that if we can make in our lives, be it with relationships, work, bhakti, anything, our success is not in the result. Because we are all hankering after the result that we think will give us happiness. But our success is not in the result, it's in the endeavor. That's the essence, because the endeavor that we are trying to make in our bhakti, the everyday penance, I don't even know if we are doing any penance. I mean, people used to, here we're talking about hard austerities and penances. It's funny that why our penances, okay, have Mahaprasad, that's your austerity, have, chant your rounds, follow the 4 regulative principles. That's just our austerity. It's not that hard, is it? It's not that hard. People used to, in different yug, there have been different dharma, right? People used to do 60,000 years of meditation, going in a forest and all of that, and hatha yoga and different kind of practices. Then yagya, if you do a yagya, that it has to be extremely clean, the area, like not even an insect can come, not even there's so many rules and regulations there. It is so hard. This was in Dwapar Yug, there was, I think, deity worship was the dharma. But here in Kal Yug, what is the yug dharma? Singing and dancing, Hari Naam Sankirtan. Is this austerity? It is so sublime, it is so blissful. We have to do that. As compared to other penances we see, it's so easy. Prabhupada has made this process extremely enjoyable. He has made it extremely, palatable to us, because it is, bhakti is fun. Bhakti is not austerity. Bhakti yoga is fun. You're constantly thinking about, okay, all gopis used to think, what is Krishna doing right now? Yashoda Maya used to think, okay, my Krishna would be hungry right now. Is this austerity? No. We just have to remember Krishna. And how do we establish that remembrance? By establishing a relationship with the Lord, by hearing His katha, glories about the Lord and His pastimes. So it's not really austerity. It's just, okay, we anyway have to do that hard work in our life. We can use that share of hard work and channelize it towards moving closer to Krishna. That's all we've got to do. Yes, it is hard to stop going towards the path of sense gratification, but once a devotee said that actually Krishna consciousness is all about enjoyment. It's not sense enjoyment, it is sense enjoyment. We have to please Krishna. So we are all pleasing Krishna, His senses, and automatically we get gratified, or we get happiness, we get satisfied. But if we try to individually satisfy our senses, it's going to be a battle. That's what all the wars and battles are all about. Me, and me. Myself, my country, my family. It's always expanding from me. And that is why all these wars happen. That is why all the conflicts happen in any relationship, when you bring it on yourself. That what am I seeking here? What am I getting in this relationship? Well, have you thought, what am I giving in this relationship? What am I, okay, not to compare with toxic relationships where people give, and they're in an unhealthy relationship and they're being used. We're not talking about that, but we're talking about healthy relationships where Krishna can be the center, and two people, that's how Grihast instead of Grahamedhi, we are going to Grihasthashram, where, Krishna is the center. And, this is a very vast topic. Someday I keep discussing with devotees how sometimes, even as devotees, we ignore our duties as families, and we try to think that we are preaching, we are doing my sadhana, and we're ignoring our family members. That's also not nice. I mean, that's not how as devotees we should be, that we're ignoring our children. We are not, let the kids do what they want. They are just being raised in the community, so they'll come out well. Okay, that's fine, that's good faith, but you need to give love to your kids. You need to give love to your spouse. You need to give love to your, devotees around you. Just don't think about your own growth. That, okay, I'll be fine, because that's how it's not going to happen. Even if by chance you go to Goloka, you have to live with devotees there. It's not just you and Krishna. It's Krishna wanting you to serve the devotees. That's how Krishna will be served. So if we have chosen a certain ashram in our life, certain path in our life, we need to understand who do we need to serve. Yes, remember this last time I said, a reporter asked His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj that it seems like all of you are just one-track mind, just Krishna. And he said, no, we have multi-tracks, but all tracks lead to Krishna. So yes, the purpose of our life is to become Krishna consciousness and to love Krishna, to get Krishna prem. But on daily basis, how do we get that? How do we live in a coexist, and how we are living in an environment that we are actually serving Krishna by serving devotees, by serving our family members. It's not to say that you're getting more attached as a devotee. Yes, we keep reading in scriptures, don't be attached to wife, don't be attached to husband, don't be attached to your kids, don't be attached to this. Yes, but when you become devotees, that's your service. But like your highest service is to Krishna, but even this is service where internally you're not attached. But externally, you have to do your duties. You have to play a good role as a student, daughter, wife, husband, mothers, fathers. You have to fulfill all the duties. Right? So that's how we are going to fulfill our day-to-day purposes to fulfill the bigger purpose of life. If we escape from these roles or our day-to-day purposes, then we're not sure if we're ever going to fulfill the higher purpose. I mean, this is like, we need to understand that both this day-to-day and higher purpose are the same. My day-to-day purpose is not that, okay, I just come to temple, have my prasad, and I'm just, okay, tata, bye-bye. No, I mean, yes, prasad is good. There's a lot of glories on Mahaprasadam. But as a devotee, what am I doing? Am I actually taking shelter of devotees who are so pure, and I am going and inquiring them, I'm talking to them, or any service I'm doing in the temple, or there is something, how can I contribute, into my devotional life? So our higher purpose and our day-to-day purpose needs to match. The more it matches, there will be less of frustration, and even in, as devotees, we feel, oh, I'm not able to get up for Mangalarti, I'm not able to do this, I'm not able to do that. And then we go in a hatred zone. You don't need to go in that. It's okay. You can miss a day or two, you can be like that, but please try to focus on your day-to-day goals and try to make it aligned with the higher goal, and there will be less of frustration, and you'll feel more motivated and pushed by the mercy that's all coming to you. So we've got to make our endeavor in the right place. So yeah, I think I'll just pause here. Is there any question, any comments? You can go ahead. Hare Krishna.
It was a wonderful class. Thank you. At the end, you were speaking about the attachment, so I was thinking, like, all of us, we have heard, right, several times, in and of itself, any particular thing is neither good or bad. Like, for example, knife. We give the example of knife. It depends on the usage or the user, how to use. So I was thinking attachment also. Unless we have that knowledge, how to utilize everything in Krishna service, there will be always a flip side to it.
Right.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, this is what I've heard, except envy, everything else can be utilized in Krishna service,
Yes.
including the attachment.
Thank you, Prabhu. That's a wonderful point. Yes. Except envy, we can use all the other emotions that we have, but again, it depends on how we are using it. Otherwise, it becomes a whole big issue. And yes, sometimes people ask, how can even criticism be a service? Yes, because when you're trying, you need to know how you need to criticize. We've often seen there needs to be a relationship. When you're criticizing somebody, there has to be a relationship. Is that person giving you that position to listen to you? As a guru has a right to scold for the upliftment of his disciple. The guru has to take that. A teacher has to take that step. A mother has to take that step, right? A mother cannot say, okay, my child will learn automatically, I don't need to scold. No, a mother needs to scold the child when the child is making any mistake. So that's also service. But envy is it's corrosive to our bhakti. It is like, it's not at all acceptable to Krishna. So except envy, even I've heard this. You're right, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji is saying by criticizing Mayavadis, you can make advancement. So, yes. Any other point or any other question, comment? No, but so our passion to service, I really heard this nice statement that with the compass of knowledge, if we combine with our passion of service, that is compassion. So compass of not, if I'm just serving and I keep serving, but my mood, I'm just ignoring what my mood is at the time of service and what I have done, is it good? If I have served some devotee, maybe that service was not helping that devotee. I am very happy, see, I'm serving devotees all the time, I'm serving in temple all the time, but what is my mood? So even in normal day-to-day life, what is my mood if I am doing any action? Your consciousness is really important, and that will come through knowledge. How we uplift our intelligence, it's a common topic, through scriptural knowledge, through spiritual knowledge. That is the wisdom. That knowledge channelizes into wisdom, and that becomes, what do we say? A compassionate step that we can make towards ourselves and other people.
Just to add a little to what you said, I was thinking, as I said, right, the knowledge and maturity depends on the user. The knife, for example, even if the user has the knowledge how to use it for the right purpose, but there will be different situations and time and place. As per time, place, situation, he will have to use the knife.
Exactly.
Even in the kitchen, right?
But that choice to make, again, comes from our buddhi. And what have been feeding to ourselves is that's how we say, right? Even in psychology, it comes T model, thoughts, emotions, actions. So your actions are a result of your emotions and feelings. And your emotions and feelings are a result of your thoughts. So again, you make a choice, informed choice, based on what have you been feeding your mind or intelligence. So yeah, that's a very important role. Okay, I think we should pause here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anant Koti Vaishnav Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Kalachan ji ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.